Alright, welcome back to another stream. We are back in Flight Sim 2020 World Update, was it 5? 4? Can't remember the number, but it's just released for mainly France, Belgium, Netherlands I think were part of it as well, but France was the big one. So, we are in the CRJ, and we're going to be flying around France. So we're starting off at Charles de Gaulle in Paris, and we're going just a short hop. It's about a 40-minute flight, I think in total. It's only like 20 miles. We're going over to Paris Orly, I believe it's called. And from there, we're going down to, I can't remember, on the coast. But we'll sort that out once we get there. So that is the plan. I have noticed a bit of a reduction in FPS since the update, which seems to be standard with all the Flight Sim updates. So we'll see how it holds up as we go, but that's the plan. I'm super keen to fly the CRJ once again. Obviously, I believe Air France, so it's HOP. I think they probably don't say HOP in France, probably got some other pronunciation, but they are one of the biggest operators of the CRJ. So, gonna be cool to do some flights for them. I must admit, I've hardly ever flown in and around France at all. I've been in and out of Charles de Gaulle a couple of times, but this is all going to be pretty new. We have an Air Namibia A320 there, which is definitely not realistic. Anyway, let's jump into the cockpit and start getting everything ready. So I can see that the frames are a little bit low, and I did test this, obviously being in France now with all the extra detail. I would expect this, but I did test this. Those cars are all floating. I did test this outside of France, and it was the same. So less, not as smooth as it was last time we flew the CRJ, but we'll see how it goes. Right. So, why does it feel like we have no sound? Okay, we do have sound. It's just really quiet inside, apparently. Interesting. Okay. First things first, let's get some power onto the aircraft and then we can start getting the passengers boarded. So we need to make sure that all the circuit breakers are closed, but none of them are modeled anyway. So what we would really do is come along here somewhere like this and just have a look down the rows and make sure none of them have popped out, which they all look perfectly good. Nose wheel steering, let's make sure that that is off, which is down here. I've got to remember this, so armed off, that's what we want. So this is only going to be my second time flying the CRJ in Flight Sim 2020. It's been a couple of years. My view isn't straight here, let's fix this. I did fly the CRJ in FSX, but it's been quite a few years since I did that, so taking a bit of remembering. There we go, that's a little bit straighter. Not 100%, but it's good enough. Okay. So, hydraulic pumps all off, which they are because they're in the middle. That's perfect. Landing gear lever down. Yes. Spoiler at 0. Let's just make sure. There we go. I'm just resetting that on my HOTAS because for some reason in X-Plane, up is down. Unless I actually need to change that axis. So when I come into Flight Sim, as soon as I touch this, it jumps all the way out. But it's sorted now. Flaps and slats up, radar off, obviously everything's off. ADG manual release, let's put this up, that's all stowed, so is the landing gear manual lever or whatever it's called. Parking brake is on, that's perfect. Right, let's come up here and get some power. So battery master on, and DC service I think we turn on as well. Right, APU, we need to open the flap and start it. So I think that opens the flap and introduces the fuel. Right, so the APU is now powering up. And now that that is coming online, we can... No, don't do that. No. No, we are not requesting pushback. Don't, oh wow. I don't remember turning that on. Hopefully this message will go through before. There we go. So that shouldn't mess with us now. I don't remember turning on the automatic ATC, but anyway. That happens fairly often, so at least I was expecting... Well, as soon as I heard that, I knew exactly what it was, so we're sorted. No panics. Right, what we're trying to do is get our passengers boarding. So this is a pretty short flight. So we are going from... Let me get my flight plan. Right, LFPG, which is Charles de Gaulle, to LFPO, Paris Orly. Our flight number today is HOP 937. Cruising altitude for this is only 10,000 feet. And our flight time today is expected to be 40 minutes. And we will be taking off in about 40 minutes, most likely. Aircraft is the CRJ-700. And we have 60 passengers on board. Right, no Wi-Fi, no IFE. So let's get that started. Right, there we go. So our passengers are now boarding, which is perfect. Okay, now that our passengers are boarding, we can start setting up the rest of the aircraft. And I'm just realizing you guys can't actually see the little Pack X bar at the bottom here. Let's see if I can fix that. I remember having this issue before. It doesn't like to pick up Pack X. That looks like it's working. Right, so you should be able to see our Pack X and any interactions we have with that at the bottom. The other thing I need to just enable is our flight tracker. Okay, so since I've never flown, well not never, but I hardly ever fly around France, I'm going to be using my Navigraph charts quite a lot to make sure that we're in the right place. What was our call sign? Hop 9374. Okay, let's get this running. Right, so now we have our flight info on top as well. Cool. Should be good to go. Let's start setting up the aircraft. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is get our IRS aligning. Yeah, frame rate is definitely much lower than last time, which is a little concerning. none of this has actually changed. I can... see, why do we have those? But they must be just static aircraft. Let's turn some of this down a bit and see if this maybe helps us a little bit. This seems to happen after every update. I mean, last time I flew the CRJ, okay, it's a little bit better. Still not amazing. We'll see as we go on. Last time I flew the CRJ, had no issues. Straight away after the update, I could see that the frame rate was a lot lower, which is quite frustrating. Just want to see. Okay. That's aligning. Emergency equipment is checked. Gear pins and safety not simulated, or documents, but we got everything we need on my iPad here in front of us. Hydraulic 3 pump. We only need to switch that on if we need hydraulic power, which we don't right now, so we're leaving it off. Okay, FMS we can start setting up now. Right, so we are at...
Crew, I'd like to welcome you aboard our flight. As you find your seat, be sure to place your larger carry-on items in the overhead bins and smaller items underneath the seat in front of you. If you have trouble finding a location for any of your carry-on items, please use the flight attendant call button.
Once again, I'm always going to go down here for the next and previous buttons because I'm so used to Airbus and Boeing.
And it is full, make sure you close it as a courtesy to other passengers. Also, be sure that the aisle is clear and sit down so that way other passengers can get by you. If you are seated in an emergency exit row, please review the exit seating responsibilities in the safety card provided for you. Please make sure that you are able and willing to perform these actions. If you're not, please let a flight attendant know so that way you can be reseated. Now's the time to get out any last-minute text messages if you need to, but we ask that once we depart from the gate, you put away any laptops or tablets. Thank you, and welcome aboard.
So our first waypoint, because this is a short flight, first waypoint is actually just a coordinates. I've never put coordinates in here. Let's try 4851 north and 00217 east. I don't know the format. It's not going to take that. Oh. Let's see. We could actually just... So, let's see. We're taking off from runway 09 right. Now, before we choose that runway, I want to just see where we are. And what I'm actually going to do is let's import this flight plan into Navigraph and just make sure, because I don't want to taxi all the way across the airport. So this airport has quite a few runways. So I want to make sure we don't have a crazy taxi. Right, so let's generate this guy. Okay, so now I can import this into Navigraph. At this rate, our passengers are going to be ready before us, which is unusual. Okay, so here at Charles de Gaulle, let's have a look. Right, so we are here in the middle, I believe, on Kilo. 9 right is literally the second furthest runway away from us. So we are going to, in fact, take 8 left. We are not going to do 9 right, otherwise we're going to taxi for half an hour. Okay, so let's do 8 left. And I wonder... there, the passengers are ready. So we might actually leave a little bit late here.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard Flight 937. Our flight time will be roughly 40 minutes. Please note the cabin door is now closed. We ask that you make sure that all
so there's no procedure.
Larger devices are now shut down and stowed. If you have not already, please fasten your seatbelt and verify it is
which is actually fine.
Your lap. Your tray tables and seat backs must be in the full upright and locked position for
I didn't think there would be a procedure for where we're going. Betty! Thanks for tuning in. We're trying to remember how to fly this plane. It's going well. As you can hear, the passengers are already ready and we haven't even put in all of our route. So, let's go back. Back to the index. That's not actually what I wanted. That's what I wanted, that's why. Okay, so then we're going directly to TA. I wonder if it's going to recognize that. It has. Perfect. Okay, then I think most of these are going to be direct because they're so close. Yeah, then direct to Dopap. And then direct from there. Yeah, we're not in an Airbus. There's no go button. Okay, direct to the airport from there. Let's see. Our arrival into Paris Orly is runway 6. We need to go back here and say arrival. Those are all RNAV. Instead, ILS 6. And do they give us a procedure? I don't think so. We're coming from Dopap, so if they have a Dopap star, we'll take that, which there probably isn't one. I didn't think so. Okay, that's fine. So this is going to be kind of manual, I suppose, but we'll put that in as the next waypoint, like so. That looks a bit interesting, but we'll figure it out as we get there. Right. We also need to load our fuel, so let's come over to our tablet. And we'll come here to aircraft. That's all closed up because we're done with all of that. Cool, that's fine. So somewhere in here, there we go. Put in our fuel, and today we need, for this short flight, hardly anything, 2.1 tons. What have we got in at the moment? 4. We're not going to take fuel out, I don't think. But we do need to set our zero fuel weight. So that's fine. We'll work with 4.4 tons. K-Sizzle is here. Thanks for tuning in. We will work with 4.4 tons and see, we might not even need to uplift fuel for the second leg. Right, zero fuel weight 25.4. We do have 60 passengers on board, so let's set that first of all. Zero fuel weight is 25.6, so we need to offload a little bit of not fuel cargo. Cool. Set payload. Should have... Okay, it's already done that. Perfect. And we'll put that into the FMS. That saves us a little bit of time. Right. If we come down here to performance, that all looks good. Let's make sure all of this looks fine. Cruising out, that's what we need to put in. Only going up to 10,000 feet today. That's in. And I think that is us ready to go. Just in terms of the FMS. We're probably going to be a little bit later in terms of sim brief or passengers. Mind you, we're expecting departure only 26 minutes, so we're all right. The passengers are all on board. They're just going to have to sit and wait for a while. I feel like that's something that happens in real life fairly often. Okay, emergency lights, switch armed. No smoking and seatbelt signs. Auto. Okay. That's all done. We do need to do the oxygen test. That's good. That's all good. That means we will have oxygen in case I forget to turn on the packs again. Which is fine. You can't do that in this aircraft. It does them automatically, I think. No, we do have to turn them on. Whoops. Okay, that's oxygen tested. That's all good. APU is running. That is in auto. Okay, external lights. So nav light should be on. Logo light we can turn on. The rest of them we don't need at the moment. Right, ensure that the fuel pumps are switched off. They are. Okay, bleed air should be both and auto. That's perfect. And normal over there. Fantastic. APU is on and running. Left and right engine start switches off. Hydraulic panel. We can now put all of the pumps that have auto, I believe, into auto. One, 3B, and 2. 1, 3B, and 2 on. Okay, actually, no, we don't want them on. We want them auto. So this is a bit interesting. So in old Flight Sim, what you used to do with switches like this is if you left click, they'd go down. If you right click, they'd go up. They couldn't do that in Flight Sim 2020, so you have to use the mouse wheel, but only on switches that have more than 2 positions. It gets a bit confusing. So like these that only have 2 positions, you just click. And if it's down, it goes up. If it's up, it goes down. These you have to remember to use the mouse wheel, which catches me out a few times. Okay, that's done. ELT should be armed, which it is by default anyway. That's over there. Okay, cabin pressure. This is a little interesting to do. So we need to dial this in. We need to dial in our landing elevation. So let's have a look. And elevation of Aerosoft is 291 feet. So we need to kind of do this. Our landing elevation is there. So we need to dial that to around 300 feet. I don't know how I'm going to do that. How did I do this last time? I think I just did it like this. So we scroll this until that says that. So that says 200. Oh, that's 400 now. 300 is close enough. The zoo was sitting here at the gate as we got back and went mental as we drove inside. Jeez, no. The zoo. Right, that looks good. Okay, landing elevation set. Okay, air conditioning panel. We can turn all of this on. So packs on, recirc fan should be on. I think that's all. Temperature control mode, auto, yes. Ram air switch off, guarded, yes. And anti-ice, we don't need. Perfect. Okay, windshield should be set to low. It's another 3-position switch. See, I was trying to click and it wouldn't work. Gotta remember. Emergency lights on. Standby compass is over there. Right. Nozzle steering is off. I think we are just about ready to go. Now, just for the sake of saving time, I'm just going to leave out the anti-skid test and the overheat test and all of that because it takes a while. Okay, check that the thrust levers are closed and off. Transponder, which is always a bit interesting to set. So 1324 is my standard transponder when we're not flying with ATC. Yeah, both of you have unmanageable zoos. Okay, alt on, and we need to set this to position 1. And that should be good now. Perfect. That needs to be green. Okay, does this give us a trim value here? Takeoff trim 7.2. What are we at the moment? 7.5. That's not what I wanted. Trim 7.2 set for takeoff. No Petrus tonight, Dave. Tomorrow we will have a special episode involving Petrus. So tomorrow I'm taking on the baddies from the 404 in a competition, and Petrus will be there to assist me. Same time tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. It's gonna be interesting. Okay, trims are set. Yaw damper. These guys are all back here. So yaw damper engage. You can also set the stab trim and the muck trim. Right, that looks good. Parking brake is set, and all of that is sorted. Okay, we're getting there. Passenger signs are on, landing elevation set, boost pumps on. Altimeters. Let's do... QNH 1032. Geez, that's high. Where do I set this? It's on the side here somewhere. Okay, 1032 set. Darren gonna crash a game. We have tested it a few times. There were some patches recently, so we've tested it a couple of times and it worked fine. So we can only hope. Yeah, it does seem to be working, but anything's possible. Right, IRS is aligned. FMS is all set. That is all good to go. Okay, flight level is set. We should probably also... This is what annoys me about Pushback Express. Every time I want to use it, there's an update, and you can't use it without doing the update. So we're going to have to use the built-in janky pushback system, but it's fine. Okay, altitude. It's already set to 10,000 by default. Look at that. Okay, flight director can come on. We'll arm nav. In fact, we'll actually probably go heading because we don't have a star. And the rest is fine. Right. And if we come down here, let's make sure all the doors are closed. They're all green. Okay. Beacon light can come on. Hydraulic pumps are all auto. Parking brake is set. And we can now push back and start our engines.
All ground, Foxtrot. Hotel Golf Zulu Romeo requesting pushback. Foxtrot, Hotel Golf Zulu Romeo pushback request accepted.
I'm just going to let them push us back straight. Okay, we'll release the parking brake. Because I can never remember which way is which. Okay, we don't have a... I said a star earlier, I meant a SID. We don't have a departure procedure. So, we are going to fly runway heading, and then once we are cleaned up and stabilized, we will turn directly to that first point. But what we need to do first is start our engines. So let's click number 2 engine start. Very simple start procedure. I feel like we're pushing it very slowly. Parking brake is off, so... Okay, and as that's coming up, we can click on this guy and then move this a little bit forward. And engine 2 should start up shortly. Wow, we are pushing back slowly. Good gracious. Okay, engine 2 is coming online. Is this actually off? I mean, that's definitely now set it, which has made no difference whatsoever. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the front of the aircraft for a safety demonstration. When the seatbelt
It's going to take
light
us
is on,
15 years to
make sure that your seatbelt
push
is
back at
fastened
this rate.
well and tight
We'll start at the second engine,
to fasten,
which is
insert
actually
the metal
engine 1.
pieces into one another. Tighten
And
by pulling
then
on the
we'll
loose end of the strap.
stop
To release the
pushing,
seatbelt,
because it's
lift
going
the
to take
upper portion
forever.
of the buckle. In the event that the seatbelt light is not on, we suggest that you keep your seatbelt
Right, so once we get
fastened.
20%, I nearly said 70%, 20% N2, we will engage the fuel.
In some cases, your nearest exit may be behind you.
Like
If
so.
you need to evacuate the aircraft, floor level lighting will guide you towards the exit. In the event of a decompression, an oxygen mask will drop in front of you. To start the flow of oxygen,
I don't
pull
think
the
these
mask
lights are
towards
supposed to stay
Place
on.
it firmly over your nose and mouth, secure the elastic band behind your head, tighten the straps if necessary, and breathe normally. Although the bag does not inflate, oxygen is flowing to the mask.
Oh,
If you're traveling with
that's
a traveler,
why.
someone who requires
Whoops.
assistance, secure your mask on first
Definitely
and then
missed that.
Keep your mask on until a member of the crew advises you.
That sounds better.
Remove it. In the unlikely event of a water landing, a life vest is located in a pouch under your seat or between
So
your
there's
arms. When instructed to do so, open
some
the
information
vest
for you
and remove
guys.
the vest.
Your engines don't start properly
Wrap the straps around your
unless
buckle
they
and
are getting
pull
fuel.
the straps tight. To inflate the vest, pull firmly
Okay,
on the red cord
let's
only when
stop
exiting the
this
aircraft. If it doesn't inflate
nonsense.
automatically, you may
All
blow
ground,
into the mouthpiece
Foxtrot.
for a manual
Hotel Golf
inflation.
Zulu Romeo
The vest
requesting
is
the
equipped
end
with
of
a whistle and
pushback.
a light. If you need to, your seat cushion can be used as a secondary push.
Foxtrot, Hotel Golf
Set
Zulu
the parking
Romeo.
brake.
Aircraft as soon as possible and leave your belongings. Please securely stow your personal items.
Okay,
Make
pro
sure your seatbelts
peats.
are fastened and seat backs and tray tables
Oh,
are in
here
full
somewhere.
upright position. We remind
There we
you that
go.
this
Left
is
and
a
right
non-controlled
on.
flight. Tampering with, disabling,
Electrics
or
all look good.
destroying
We can
this
turn
detector
off the
located in
APU.
lavatories is prohibited. prohibited by law.
And we need to close that little door. So at the back here,
Located in the seat back in front of you. We suggest reading this and letting a cabin member know if you have any questions. Thank you for flying with us.
there's a little flap here, which opens up to, that's the air intake for the APU. So we need to close that, but we need to wait a little bit to give it time to cool down, because it's obviously been running. So you guys have to make sure before we enter the runway that I've closed that, because I forgot that last time and it's very easy to forget. Okay, nose wheel steering can now come on. Right, let's change this back from doors. We'll set this to fuel. We have a, oh, the low pressure's for the APU, that's fine. Okay, taxi check. Flaps should be set to 8. Right, flaps 8 and indicating. Craig is moving your favorite. Craig loves moving. Okay, trims green and 7.2. Thrust reverses we can arm for our landing. Instruments are checked, FMS is all set, brakes are fine. Right, let's taxi. So, I do know that geez, I can't even language. We will be turning to the right. I remember this from last time. It actually takes quite a lot of power to get it moving. This feels like an excessive... Oh, so it's not releasing the parking brake. Hang on. Well, that explains why we were pushing back so slowly, because that's the parking brake released.
The cabin is ready.
The brakes aren't actually released. Well, there's an interesting tidy your cables. I will not. But the brakes are released. Right, that's an interesting issue, which I don't have a fix for. I mean, that explains why we were pushing back so slowly, because the parking brake is actually not releasing. Huh. Now what? So that's definitely on. Oh, I wonder. There's chocks. How? I don't remember there being chocks last time. I must have... That's why we pushed back so slowly. Oh wow. My rudder's inverted. What has happened to this game after the update? What? Why are these both set to the same axis? Yes, that's fine. Okay, those... That doesn't look right. No, something's definitely not happy. Okay, let's see if it's maybe this that's freaking out. Somewhere in here. Next page. Yeah, calibrate. Okay, that is sorted. That's all the same as I said it before. So why? Let's just jump outside. So let's see. If I turn left, it goes right. If I turn right, it goes left. If I use this one's right. So it's freaked out on the tiller. So let's just see if we do this. Does that fix it? Because I flew a flight this morning with Jason, I thought you were actually being serious about something there. Flew a flight earlier with a different aircraft and it was fine. Okay, now that seems to be right. Interesting. Now our frame rate's gone down to like 2. What is happening? So my suspicions that they would break it again in the update seem to be valid, because it is not happy at all. Okay, let's see. Okay, my rudder works now. Frame rate's getting lower. Okay, we have clicked around enough to turn this off now. Yeah, let's see how this goes. Okay, at least I have control. Rudder is now working. I've never had to reverse it like that. That's something I'll have to check out. Yeah, flight controls are alright. Frame rate does seem to be getting worse.
Please note the cabin lights will be dimmed for departure and landing. If you require additional lighting, there is a reading light on the panel above you.
Okay, the frame rate is now... It's not great, but it's better than it was a minute ago. Okay, what I should be looking at is where the hell we're actually going. So let's bring up this chart. I do know we need to go to the right. Okay, what taxiway is this? RT5. So we are here, so we need to go on RT5 and then tango all the way to... We don't need the full length of the runway, so we'll do Tango 6 will be perfect. Guys, can you just be nice in the chat? Jason, every time you hear, then there's fights in the chat. I mean, I'm not saying, just it's a trend that I've noticed. That's all I'm saying. Right, this is a late afternoon flight. As you can see, the sun is getting lower. But you probably can't see that, but you've been here since the beginning, you may have noticed. The sun is getting lower and it's getting darker. So let's just turn up the brightness of the things. Trying to taxi while doing this. I did this last time as well. How do I get these lights on? I think there's one on the overhead panel. Yes, no, I don't see anything. Oh, it must be this. Oh, no, that's that light. We don't want that on. I had this exact issue last time. Although these lights are on here. They just seem a little bit dimmer. Okay, we'll see as it gets darker. Right, so we're looking for, what did I say? Tango 5, Tango 6, Tango 6. That's RT4, so we're over here. So the next one is Tango 6. Yeah, there's Tango 6 there, so we're going to take that taxiway. Right, flaps are set. As we enter the runway, we'll turn on the strobes and the landing lights. And transponder is already set. Right, so I think we are good to go. It's just lights to sort out. As we make this turn, our beacons on, strobes can come on, and all the landing lights can come on as well. Transponder is already set, flaps are set. I think we are good to go. Oh, we're going up significantly to this runway. It's supposed to be like that. Bit of a speed bump. Okay. Let's make sure our heading lines up. So, oh, I love this, that you can just sync the heading to the way the aircraft is facing. Super easy. Okay, let's go throttles to Togo. There's climb, there's Togo. Keep it on the center line. We didn't actually set our V speeds though, I just realized. I can't remember where they are, here somewhere. I'm gonna go off the runway if I'm doing this. Oops. Well, 130 is gonna be enough. Jeez, I can't actually turn it with the rudder. Oof, feels very strange. No. Oh, I forgot about this. My stick is all the way back. What was our E2 138? Yeah, that should have been fine. Yeah, let's go back into climb thrust. So that felt very strange on the takeoff. I don't remember it being like that last time. Oh, I hate this scrolling thing in Flight Sim. Okay, so we want to go up to 240. wonder if it's just the low frame rate that was messing with the rudder, but the at full back pressure on the stick just to keep it, to actually get it to climb. Okay, flaps are fully up. This is all fine. We can turn off the logo lights. But let's now get us on course. So we'll turn out to the right. And see how it's shaking like that? Okay, turn right to 250. So I wonder if the update has messed with the aircraft. There were quite a few people saying that they had add-ons that didn't work. And after the update, my flight sim actually wouldn't launch. I had to keep taking out add-ons until I don't actually know which one was the problem. But eventually, after taking a bunch out, it then launched. So, because yeah, that felt very different from the last time we flew this aircraft, which is interesting. Anyway, we are powering off into the sunset. Right, let's give us a little bit more here. So 260. And Squeaky lost his collar. Sounds about right. Again. Okay, so we're going to level off 10,000 feet, so we're not going to change our QNH. We will leave it as it is. And then let's see. So our only restriction is 414 above 4,000 feet, which is fine. So as we level off, we're gonna have to power back a lot because we're at 10,000 feet, so we need to stay below 250 knots.
You may now turn on your larger portable electronic devices. This is also a reminder to please keep your seatbelt fastened while you're seated and do not congregate in the galleys or near the lavatory.
Remember, no auto throttle on this aircraft. Now this path actually looks a bit strange. So from TA, we go to go path, which is right there. And then let's actually take this out so we can see.
We will not be able to offer in-flight service. Please let us know if there's anything we can do to make your
No drinks or food on this flight. Too short. I'll leave the landing lights on. We're at 10,000 feet, so that's fine. What is this? Bottle 1 armed, push to discharge. That's the fire system for the left engine. Both the green lights look like they're on. Why are the fire systems being armed? Also, if that had discharged, the engines would stop, so that was a little bit risky. Okay, does this give us... No, you can do VNav. How did we do that last time? I think we should start descending already. Okay, because we're going Dopap, which is there, and R14. We're going out this way. Okay, that makes sense. I don't think we should go to Dopap. I think we should go directly to this guy. Like that. That looks way better. Oh, gotta watch the speed. This is why you have two pilots. So that the pilot flying can keep an eye on that, and the other pilot can sort all this out. Right, let's go nav now. Okay, I think we're going to start descending. So they want us above 4,000 feet at that waypoint. Okay, let's get the frequency. So I told you this was a short flight. The airport's right next to us. So we're actually just repositioning to this airport. We can't see because of the clouds. It's in there somewhere. Let's start our descent. Okay, and we need to get this chart up quickly.
We have begun our final descent into your destination. Flight attendants will
Actually,
be passengers in cabin to collect any trash one final
I don't know why we have
time.
passengers if it's a repositioning flight. I just thought of that.
Please also store any
It's a special
items either in
flight.
the seat back pocket or under the seat in front of you.
Okay, so on the approach, we are doing ILS 06. We have intercept at 4,000 feet, which is perfect. Then our frequency is 108.5. We need to put that in into our nav. 108.5. It set it for us. Look at that technology. Yeah, the sim is struggling. Yeah, we have an ice detection. That's not what I wanted to click on. So let's do anti-ice. Probes are on. Windshield heat is already on. That's all good. Now, this is a bit of a bad angle to intercept the ILS. Well, when I say it's a bit of a bad angle, it's almost impossible. So we're going to extend this leg a little bit and kind of do more of a circle in. Otherwise, we're going to really struggle. So because of that, we can reduce our descent rate a bit. Right, landing lights are already on because we never went above 10,000 feet. We're already picking up the ILS. Okay, the course is 061, so we need to dial that in, which we can't do while we're following this on FMS. So we'll sort that out in a bit. Right, let's turn to this heading now. And now we can switch over from FMS to localizer, and let's dial in the course of 061, which it's done for us as well. Yeah, just watching the speed. I'm happy to bring the speed down actually to about 200 because there's a lot going on. And let's look at our flap extension speeds. So flaps up to 20 we can do at 230 knots. So I think we'll take 2 stages of flaps here just to help bring the nose down a little bit. There comes our speed limit, so we don't want to exceed 230. Check at that, sun. Okay, the sim's running a lot smoother now, so maybe it's just Charles de Gaulle Airport that's now really intense. Mind you, this did happen. I tested this in South Africa earlier as well. I had the same issue, so... Right, we can now turn, and let's see if we can intercept this ILS. Right, we're coming into altitude capture, so we're getting close to 4,000 feet. Can we see the airport anywhere? No. So the airport we're flying into is a little bit smaller. Obviously Charles de Gaulle is the big one. I don't think I've ever flown into this airport or out of it. Right, so course 061 is set. It's already picking up the glide slope and the localizer, so we are all good in that regard. Right, so let's arm approach mode so we can intercept that localizer. I think I can see the airport over there. Yeah, there's the runway. Okay, let's set landing speeds. So VREF 136. Right, we're about to intercept the glide slope. Let's dial this down then to 136. Plus 5 is 141. And we can start bringing the speed down. We're now 1 dot away from the glide slope, so let's bring our gear down. And flaps 20 at 230, so let's go flaps 20, and then flaps 30 at 185, flaps full at 170. Okay, so we should intercept the glide slope now. We are on the localizer, that's captured. See the runway ahead of us, so should get the nose dipping shortly. So we are flaps 20. So the next stage of flap limit is 185. Right, there's the glide slope. Okay, let's bring the power back, and we'll start slowing down to our reference speed of 141. So that's VREF plus 5 for our final approach. Okay, now that the gear's done, we can turn on the taxi lights, turn on the logo lights as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land. Please remain seated until we have stopped.
Okay, so checklist.
2500.
Flight attendants advised they just made the announcement. Passenger signs are on, reversers are armed, landing gears down, flaps 20. But we are planned to go full. So we're below 180 knots now. Let's take the next stage of flaps. We want to be stable by 1,000 feet. We're currently at just over 2,000, so that's not an issue. And just using the power to make sure we are keeping our speed. Okay, so 1,500 feet, we'll take our final stage of flap. And we need to start getting ourselves down to that approach speed. Okay, let's get this out of the way and get ready for our landing. Right, so flaps full, we're on speed. The last stage of flaps gives us quite a bit of drag, so we're gonna put in a bit more power. Like so. Okay, flaps full, landing gears down, 3 greens. We are ready to land. Reversers are armed. I don't know if we're even going to use the reversers, but they are armed just in case. Generally, when I fly this aircraft, I don't really use the reversers because I know... I understand that the SA Express CRJs don't have reversers. So I got used to just flying it without using them because the ones here don't... I think they weren't actually fitted with them. But anyway, they're armed just in case we decide we need them. But this is a fairly long runway. Not going to be any issues with slowing down in time. Okay, there's 1,000 feet. Let's take control. So, aircraft is now mine. The controls once again seem very twitchy. I don't remember that being the case the last time we flew this on stream. Yeah, it's working, but the frame rate is really not great. It's way worse than it was the last time we flew this.
400.
So last time this was running at about, it was like 36, 38 frames. We're now down to like 20, and it seems like it's getting less the longer we go, so... Once again, I mean, that's the same thing that's happened after every update, so I'm not surprised.
200.
Yeah, I'm flying visually now, I'm not worried about the puppy lights.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Interesting, swerved way off to the left there. What was the world update? France was the main part, so that's where we're flying now.
Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
She sounds Australian, but anyway. So France, and then a bit in Belgium and the Netherlands, I believe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. The local time is 8:10 p.m. and it's currently about 9 degrees Celsius.
The other thing that happened after the update was that my rudder axis was flipped around. So when I...
And the seatbelt sign is turned on.
But not in the settings. So the settings are normal, but when I turn it left, it goes right.
If this is your
So now I've had to reverse it in the settings, and I can just see they're going to fix that, and then it's going to be backwards again because it's flipped in the settings.
of your journey.
So I don't know. I don't know why I keep trying this game. I just want to fly the CRJ. It's so good. Although it feels very weird now, but I'm thinking it might be because of the low frame rate. That it feels way more twitchy than before. These lights up here still aren't on. I've definitely messed that up. I think it's over there somewhere that I need to set them. Yeah, let's slow ourselves down a bit. Landing lights can come off. Strobes can come off. See, the rudder's being very strange. It keeps resetting itself back to 0. I don't know. Now I can't turn it all. And it just turns like crazy. And it's been what, like a week? since I flew this aircraft, and it was perfectly fine. The only thing that's happened is the update, so I don't think this is an Aerosoft thing. I think this is a game issue. Right, we're gonna park on the right hand side here next to this I think it's a Citation. And then we're going to prep for our next leg. Here's the lights I was looking for earlier. Ready for the Call of the Wild challenge? 100%. See, Brendan's been practicing hard. He's played like 12 hours since we showed him the game. Which was like a day ago. Okay, let's go taxi lights off as we turn into the gate. Not that this is a gate, this is more of just a little parking space. Oh, we've turned into the same parking as that Citation because they've got these guides that aren't straight, so we will have to do this. Overachiever, yeah. Just making you look bad. Watch him come in and just wreck both of us. That would sound about normal. Right, there we are. One thing we did forget to do is power up the APU, so we'll do that quickly. I'm not going to shut everything down because we are just doing a quick turnaround. But I do need to work out where we are going. And I did book the flight, I just can't remember the name of the airport. Okay, I'm just waiting for the APU to power up, so that's starting. Once it stabilizes, we can then switch off the engines. Jeez, for a moment there, I thought that said LFRO because of that little line. I was like, did we land at the wrong airport? That would have been awkward. I think the APU is just about ready. Let's go over to electrical here. Yeah, it just went green. So let's switch off. Right, we're now running on the APU. And we'll wait for PAC-X to start getting all the passengers off. We'll turn off the beacon. Can leave the logo lights on. Why is PAC-X not registering that we're done? Yeah, so it still thinks we're taxiing in. Engines are off. Parking brake is set. Oh, there we go. So let's go here. And we don't need the chocks. We can open this up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the door is open. Please make your way to the exit and please make sure you have all your personal items.
You don't need any of that. Right. That's just the little APU running. And there we have everything open for our passengers to disembark. While that's happening, let me start prepping for the next one. Okay, so we are going from Paris Orly. CRJ-7. We are going to I can't pronounce this, but it's in, looks like it's, oh, it's not in Monaco. It's near Monaco though. Toulon, not Toulouse. I know where that is. Marseille is pretty close. Anyway, that's where we're going. The code is LFTH. Okay, let's generate that briefing. Get my iPad back so we can fill in the information. Right, so that briefing is all generated. Let's export that and we'll start setting up for the next leg. We need to get all the passengers off. Like I said, we shouldn't actually have had passengers on a positioning flight, but anyway. We'll get them off and get the next passengers on. Okay, let's find this briefing. So we are LFPO to LFTH, which is this one here. Okay. Right, that is the flight booked and briefings generated. So this is a late afternoon flight, so we will most likely be arriving in the dark, which is cool because I don't think I've ever shown Flight Sim at night on stream, so we'll check that out. The other thing I should do is update this. Okay, our call sign for the next leg is 7508. Okay, so that's updated. And we are ready to start setting up. So, first things first. Let's come down here. And do...
Captain, all passengers have left the plane.
Okay, so all the passengers are off. Night, Kelly, thanks for tuning in. Have a good day tomorrow. Let's get the next set of passengers boarding. Right, so flight time for this is 1 hour 40 minutes. Yeah, tomorrow's the big stream where we take on, or the 404 take on each other, and we see just how good Brandon's gotten in the last 2 days of playing Call of the Wild. Okay, no, it's not 30 hours before we take off, it's 30 minutes. We only have 45 passengers on board on this next flight, so less than the positioning flight, which doesn't make any sense, but we'll go with it. Right, first thing we need to do is set up our fuel for this. We need 3.1 tons of fuel. And we have 3.3. That's perfect. So we don't actually need to take any fuel, which is exactly what I hoped for earlier when I saw we had still 4.5 tons of fuel on board. Right, zero fuel weight 25.4. We are 25.2. But we only have, what did I say? 42 passengers. No, I can't remember. 45. So let's dial this down to 45. And we need a zero fuel weight of 25.4. And we are now currently... Why is that not changed? Okay, 25.4. Oh, I forgot about the keypad. Change to zero fuel weight. Okay, that's actually super cool because then we could just put in 25. Oh, oops. How do I type this in? Yeah, maybe you can't with this. Oh yeah. Oh no, there we go. See what's there? Daddy. Oh, enter. Right. That's really cool. Okay. I don't remember seeing that before, but I'm just a baddie. Right, so that is set up. Let's set that payload. And put that data into our FMS. We should set our V-speeds because we forgot to do that last time. Okay. Now that that's done, let's go here and set up our route. I wonder... Yeah, I haven't actually set up SimBrief to export into a place that this can pull routes from, but that's fine. So, let's go back here. Position, we don't need to do anything. Flight plan is all cleared, that's perfect. So, F. We are going from... Why did I type F? LF PO down to LFTH. Yeah. TH. Right, now we actually have a proper route to program in because we're not just flying to an airport literally right next to us. We actually have almost 2-hour flight to do. So Latra is our first one.
On behalf of the cabin crew, I'd like to welcome you
And
aboard
then
our
the
flight.
airway
I'm
is
flight
UM133.
items in the overhead bins and smaller items underneath the seat in front of
UM133
you. If you have trouble finding a location for any of
to
these items,
Lurga.
the flight attendant call button over your seat and somebody will assist you. If the overhead bin is full, please make sure you
So,
close it as a courtesy to other
UI30
passengers. Please double check that all your items are put away so that the aisle is clear
is the
and other
airway
passengers
down
can make their way
to
their seats.
Zatel.
If you're in an emergency exit
Zatel,
row,
Zatel.
please leave the exit
Where's
seat
X?
responsibilities in the car
XAT
back in front of you.
here.
If you're not able to comply with these actions, please let a flight attendant know so that
And then that's it.
now's the time to get out.
So there's actually a lot more waypoints, obviously, because we're putting in the airways. We don't have to type in all the waypoints along the airways, just the waypoints where we change airways. So now what we have to do is departure and arrival. So here at Paris Orly, we are departing from runway 06, obviously. It's the one we just landed on. And we are doing the Latra 8 Hotel departure. Latra 8 Foxtrot Hotel. That's weird. Okay, it should be that one though. And then, when we arrive at whatever, I can't pronounce the destination, our arrival is runway... I scrolled all the way down before I check this. Runway 5, so we'll do ILS 5, and it is Zatel 3 Tango. Fatal 3 Tango. Do we pass through? Oh, yes, we do. So we'll put that in. Perfect. Right, so let's go to VNav. And let's set this up. Our cruise now is 350. Do I have to type in the thousands? Yes. So 35,000. Execute that. Right. And that is our route set up. And all of this would have come from, should have come from, see, cargo weight. All of that should have come from here. Oh, there we go. Maybe because we set up the route after we did that, that's why I came here to double check anyway. Thought that might be the case. Right, that's all done. All we're waiting for now is our passengers to finish boarding. This is all fine. We can turn off the anti-ice. We don't need that anymore. I think this flood... There we go, passengers are done, so we can actually get going. Right, let me bring up the charts.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard Flight 7508. Our flight time will be roughly 1 hour and 40 minutes. Now that the cabin door is closed, please make sure that all devices are in airplane mode and your large devices are now shut down and stowed. Please fasten your seatbelt and make sure that all tray tables and seat backs are in a full upright and locked position for departure. Cabin crew, secure doors for departure.
Okay, let me just double check. We landed runway 6. Off, so we're parked here on Whiskey 2. 10-9 Charlie. Right, so we're actually parked at Mike. We're either 20 or 30. So we need to go. These are all no entries. That's what I'm looking at. So we need to go back behind us. Whiskey 47 all the way. So it's Whiskey 2, Lima 4, Whiskey 47. That's where we're going. Right. So we don't actually need to push back. We're going to just go out this way. What does that say? Whiskey 1. Oh, you see, that's other side. We're Whiskey 2. That's fine. We need to turn around. So we're going to actually just start up here on the ramp and we'll turn. Which is perfect. So let's go. Engine. Oh, whoops. I always forget because the other aircraft, once the passengers are on board, the doors close automatically.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of
Yeah, as that comes through 20.
welcome aboard this flight. We hope you enjoy flying with us.
We can
Before
push that
takeoff,
up.
we would like to encourage all passengers to watch our cabin crew display the safety features of the aircraft. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct
Okay, then our departure.
for a safety demonstration.
So we are doing
When it's fastened, please make sure that your seatbelts are fastened
8
lower to your
Hotel.
lap. To fasten, insert the middle fitting
Latra
into
8
one another and
Hotel.
tighten by pulling on the loose end of the strap. To release your seatbelt, lift the upper portion of the buckle.
Okay, so from
Fasten throughout the entire flight as you may
06.
unexpected turbulence.
Climb heading.
Take a few moments to now locate one
Let's
of
just
the
start the
several
other engine.
exits on this aircraft. In some cases, your nearest exit may be behind you. In case of an emergency and we need to evacuate the aircraft, there is lighting on the floor that will guide you towards the exit. In the event that the cabin loses pressure, an oxygen mask will drop right in front of you. As the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you.
16, 17.
Secure the elastic band behind your head.
Once again, looking for 20.
Carry and breathe normally. Although the bag does
There
not
it
inflate,
is. Let's
oxygen is
bump
flowing
this
to the
up.
mask. If you are traveling with a child or someone who requires assistance, secure your mask first and then assist others. Keep your mask on until a member of the crew advises you escape through
Okay,
exit.
beacon light should be on. We can turn on the taxi lights because we're not pushing back.
Pouch under your seat or between the armrests. When instructed,
Captain Maddie, hello, welcome to the stream.
and remove the vest. Flip it over your head. Wrap the straps around your waist and buckle at the front. Pull the straps tight.
Okay, so on
Pull firmly on the red
departure,
cord.
we're going to climb runway heading.
Doesn't inflate automatically. You may blow
So
into the
actually, we're doing
mask.
061.
This vest is equipped with a whistle
So
and
let's
a
dial that in so long.
restriction can be used as a secondary flotation device.
Just in case something happens with nav. Am I setting the speed? I really am. Wow.
Clearly stow all personal items. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened and seat backs and tray tables are all in their full upright.
061. So this, we should go up to 240.
Non-smoking flight.
Do you have any questions for me?
Tampering with,
Where are you from?
or destroying the smoke detectors located in the lavatory
Do you have any questions for me?
is prohibited by law. All of this information and more can be found in the safety card located in
Okay,
the
so we'll go
seat
at
back in
speed
front of you.
240.
We suggest reading this and letting a cabin member know if you have any questions.
So tell me, where are you from?
Us again, and we hope you enjoy
Do
your flight.
you play Flight Sim? If so, which one? And what's your favorite aircraft if you do? How about that? Okay, 061 to 1.9 DME. Alright, intercept. That looks good. Okay, that's perfect. Any altitude restrictions? No. Any speed restrictions? Max 250 knots, that's normal. Max 300 above flight level 100, we are not going to bust that. So that's all good. Perfect. Okay, so speed is set. Altitude, we're going all the way up this time to 35,000. Like so. Right. I'm from California. Awesome. I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa. What time is it there in California? So here, if I check, it is currently 9:30 at night. So, I mean, California is just about as far, what's it, west in the US, if I remember correctly, that you can get. So, well, if you're not going further north, but so you must be a massive time difference. Do I like SAA? That's an interesting question. I always liked the aircraft, and I always thought the pilots were cool, but the management not so much. Let's put it that way. The new SAA, yeah, I'm not convinced. Right, that's everything we need for our departure. So let's go flaps 8. And our V-speeds are set. And we can taxi out. Okay, let's get that chart back. This aircraft takes quite a bit of power if you have the nose wheel turned all the way to one side. Like we have now. I can turn really quickly, so with a very small turning circle. 9 hours, that's hectic. Right, and I think we need to go down here.
cabin lights will be dimmed for departure and landing. If you require additional lighting, there is a reading light on the panel above you.
Okay, so we need to get onto Whiskey 47, and that will take us all the way down to the runway, which is up ahead of us here. So there's Lima Mike, that's perfect. We need to pass that and pass Lima November. And I'm just hoping that the taxiways are actually labeled correctly, because on the default airports, they aren't always. But this does look like exactly what I'm seeing on the chart. So I believe we should go all the way down here. What taxiway is this? Whiskey 1, Lima Mike, that's perfect. We need to pass both of those. And then at the end here, we should turn right. And Whiskey 47 will take us all the way to runway 6. Western Alaska is the furthest in the USA, while Eastern Maine is the furthest east. Okay. That's very interesting. I don't know very much. Never been to America. Yeah, I figured obviously Alaska would be furthest west. Still, 9 hours is a big difference. Okay, so I think this is actually runway 7, which is the one I planned to take off, but we set up for runway 6. So we should just update that in our FMS quickly before we take off. So let's go. Scroll too far. Latra. These names aren't 100% correct, but it's fine. That's the same procedure. Right, runway 7 there. That looks better. Have you heard of Casper? YouTuber, not cartoon. I have heard the name. I can't say I've ever watched any of the content. Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has advised that we are now cleared for takeoff. Please notice the cabin lights have been turned off, as this is a normal...
What can you tell us about Casper? Right, so let's go. Landing lights, strobes. Wonder if it's maybe a little ambitious to fly this at night on the 3rd time. Should be fine. Right, so we'll push the throttles up to Toga. Get rid of the charts for now. Out of my way. Keep it on the center line. He's South African. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, this aircraft definitely feels different on takeoff. Right, let's go gear up because we're positive. Now we can go flaps 1. Got to turn off the APU, which is not entirely an issue. These are the things that happen when it's only your 3rd time flying the aircraft. Gotta learn it as we go. Right, let's get some autopilots on to help us out here. So we'll do we need to flip this over to FMS. and we'll get the speed hold on. Let's come out of toga into climb, and we'll go up to 245 knots. There you go. So the 404 also streamers, I join them every now and then for their streams. We've been doing it for what, a few years? So they will definitely know who you're talking about. Yeah, I only really watch Flight Sim stuff on YouTube. We can only hope. If only I was more consistent. Yeah, so the 404's been going for about 3 years. So if you're interested in more like variety content, because I do mainly flying content, so Flight Sim, X-Plane, and then I do a bit of Call of the Wild, so hunting stuff as well, which is what we're doing tomorrow night. But it's all simulation based stuff, whereas the 404, we play the newest big releases, whatever's coming out. We get early access to some games as well, and it's more just like general gaming content. So if you're not a hardcore flight simmer, the 404 is a great place to be. He lives in the UK now, but occasionally returns to SA. Okay. Oh, so you guys see he doesn't do flight sim content. So what does he just do, like general gaming stuff, kind of like the 404? Guessing. Right, we are going up to a flight level, so let's do standard on our altimeters, and we're getting ourselves back on course. We have an ice detection warning. And there are a few clouds around, but not where we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now passed 10,000.
I'll turn them on. If we go into visible moisture, I will turn
This is also a reminder
anti-ice on. I don't think Casper even does gaming content. Oh, okay. I haven't watched him long enough, so could be wrong. Alright, what sort of content is it then? Okay, then the name is familiar. If he doesn't do gaming stuff, then I've definitely heard the game. I was thinking of a gamer. I heard the name, not the game. Right, let's turn that off. So we have ice detected. We're not in visible moisture, so not too stressed about ice. What's our outside temperature? That's not where I wanted to go. If we come down here to stats. Oh, we should also, while we're here, turn these off. He does vlogs, okay. I've never been a huge fan of watching vloggers, so it makes sense. Okay, outside air temperature is currently -7. So definitely in the realm of icing, but only if we were going into that cloud over there, so I'm not too worried about ice. Right, we are up past 10,000 feet, so we can bring our speed up to 290. And we'll keep it in climb. You would like to go to SA? Even on SAA? Okay, but camera conspiracies doesn't really count as I mean, it's not like random vlogging. I don't mind that kind of stuff where they talk about, you know, like technology or things like that. Or I'll watch like Steve-O and Knievo and the guys who do vlogs, but it's about flying. I can't watch the people who just vlog what they're having for lunch and stuff like that. That's what I mean. You know, like the original style of vlogging where it was literally just, this is what I do on a daily basis. I don't know if you can fly on SAA at the moment. If you're flying from the US, honestly, I don't even know if SAA is operating, but they did have flights to JFK. Otherwise, Delta flies from Atlanta to Johannesburg. That's a crazy long flight. Yeah, the Kardashian stuff, I can't watch that. It's like, yeah, that old school, all those, no, but like even, there was like a whole wave of like young vloggers who did all of that stuff. Like even the whole, like, what's it, like Logan Paul and Jake Paul, that stuff, I don't see the point. I don't know what they do now. I know they make loads of money, but I'm sure they started off as like just vlogging boring stuff. Obviously, lots of people watched it because they did really well. So what do I know? But I'll watch Cameras Conspiracies any day, just because he talks about cameras and he's just an idiot. But it's so entertaining. But even though, like, he jokes around and it's really funny, but the information he gives you is still useful. You should vlog while flying. Well, I mean, isn't that what I'm doing now, technically? I mean, not really. I suppose this is live. Yeah, I was actually watching Cameras Conspiracies last night. What a legend. Lacquer, we've got about hour and maybe almost close to 2 hours. Hour 50-ish of the stream left. Right, what I do want to do is change my display here. Get rid of all these airports because that annoys me. ETA is always nice. So we're at LATRA, 8 minutes to limit. Nav aids, I don't need speed. Oh, those are restrictions. That's useful. And altitude restrictions. It's also very useful. We'll keep those on. And we'll put up our VNAV information as well. Look at that sunset. Okay. Can't even swallow. Okay, now that I have my voice sort of back. Yes, I'm a proper baddie. What I was gonna say is I'm gonna take a quick 5 minute or so break to go get more water and try and recover from not being able to swallow. There we go, my voice is coming back. Yeah, so I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm back. I can speak again. I can fly a plane, but I can't drink. Also, I have chocolate now. So SAA operates from Cape Town to LAX. I didn't actually know they flew from Cape Town. I haven't really followed much to do with SAA for the last 5 years or so. I used to know all their routes, but they never used to do long flights like that from Cape Town. But I can understand. I can understand that they probably do now. What light are you using? So I've got my little Godox LED panels. There's one over there. There. And there's one behind the green screen lighting it up. And then I've got my diffuser in front of the one on this side. So otherwise it's like just super harsh direct light. Still getting an ice warning. Now, Flight Sim 2020 does go a little overboard on icing. I don't see any on the aircraft, so we should be alright. Let's just check if I've got my lights set up. I guess we might as well turn it on, just so we can get rid of the warning. Okay, lights are all good. So are the sensors on... Oh, I've liked and subscribed. Got to go. Thank you so much for the like and subscribe. Appreciate it. And tune in tomorrow for the competition. We're doing a hunting competition versus the 404. But appreciate the support. Thanks for tuning in. Right. Are the sensors on the CRJ better than the standard aircraft? And what do you mean by the sensors? So obviously... Do you mean the actual plane, like a real CRJ? Or do you mean just in the sim? It's like obviously the actual plane's got a lot more equipment on board than, you know, like a 172 or something. You've got weather radar, you've got the IRS system, so you're like... It's called inertial reference, so it basically knows where the aircraft is in the world. But in the game, this is quite a bit more detailed than the default aircraft. It doesn't have anything fancier than, you know, the default 747 and 787 and stuff, but it is modeled in a lot more detail, like the real one, basically compared to what you get from the bog standard airliners and GA planes. So what I'm asking, does paying for more get you more? Okay, so in the sim itself, a real world CRJ doesn't have anything, you know, fancy that a 737 doesn't have. If you compare it to the GA aircraft, 100%, it's got extra systems because it's designed to fly further. You're flying more people. It's flying more complex routes, etc. In the game versus the other airliners, because this is a third-party payware aircraft, it's modeled to more detail. So yeah, it does have better systems, and there's more stuff that's modeled in here, and it is a lot more accurate. Aerosoft isn't... They're actually one of the less detailed developers, if that even makes sense, but their philosophy has always been they model only the systems in the aircraft that get used on an everyday flight. What's up, Dave? How is the FOS after the update. I'm guessing you mean FPS. So I'm getting less FPS than I was before after the update, which has happened to me every single update. But anyway, I guess we kind of expected that. We'll see. I'm sure they'll come out with some sort of patch fairly soon. Hopefully they can fix some of the performance, otherwise I'm going to have to tweak all my settings again. But anyway, back to Aerosoft. Their philosophy has always been to model only the systems that a pilot uses on an everyday flight. So they don't model a lot of the emergency systems and all sorts of crazy backup systems that get used once in, 10,000 hours or once in a lifetime for an aircraft or a pilot. And that allows them to keep the price down. So Aerosoft aircrafts are generally cheaper than if you take someone like PMDG. And PMDG, they model everything. Every single switch, every system, all the faults, all of it is modeled. But then you're paying sometimes twice the price for an aircraft like that. So yes, in the Aerosoft stuff, there are a lot more systems modeled than default, but they don't take it to the extreme that someone like PMD does and model everything. And I understand both kind of philosophies, because I've been flying PMDG aircraft for ages, but there's so many systems that I've never actually used, and someone spent hours and hours and hours developing that. But because on 99.99% of flights you don't run into a situation where you need that system, it doesn't get used in simming, because we don't, I don't do all of the emergency procedures and stuff every time. I do them sometimes because it's interesting, but also if I had to do that on stream, we'd be on the ground for an hour and a half, 2 hours before we actually started if I was going through every system. So I do understand why Aerosoft does it the way they do, and for flying around like this, it's absolutely perfect. You're not missing anything. And I also understand PMDG going the hardcore route and saying, we code everything, we program everything. But then it does take, several years for them to develop an aircraft, and it costs a lot more. So I get both philosophies, but 100% these are still going to be a lot more detailed than your default aircraft, which is the whole point. So in short, paying more does get you more if you go with reputable developers. There have been some aircraft over the years developed where you paid and they didn't really have, they weren't modeled very well. This is the road. This is definitely not my headset. Don't tell me we're listening to my headset. Yeah, this is the road. Does it sound bad? Oh, geez, I was gonna say. Yeah, no, it's fine. I've got that. The other night when we were testing, I had the road into Discord, so it's working fine. Yeah, the OBS Ninja, the last one, I used my headset because Discord wasn't playing nicely. Would you recommend X-Plane for the Zebo mod only? I'm planning to do most of my flying in South Africa as well. By the way, love the channel. Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate the support. So, there's a lot of decisions that go into stuff like that. 100% the Zebo is incredible. I was actually flying it earlier. I've flown it a few times on the channel. You're more than welcome to go pick up those streams. I'm doing a pre-recorded video which I'm busy working on in the Zebo. It is absolutely fantastic and it's free. And I would recommend X-Plane because as kind of revolutionary as Flight Sim 2020 is, it looks amazing, it's great. I don't think the flight model's there yet. And I think it's going to be a while before we get, this up to the level of something like X-Plane. X-Plane was always designed to be very accurate, so I really like the way aircraft fly in X-Plane. So if you are looking at getting X-Plane, I wouldn't say it's a bad move. And the Zebo is fantastic. It's free, which is great. You can also do ortho scenery for free in X-Plane. There's an app you can well, not an app, a program you can download that gets you ortho scenery. You don't get the detail, obviously, that you have in Flight Sim 2020, but you can at least recognize it from Google Maps or Bing, so you can see where you are. It doesn't look as good as this, but it's definitely not bad. So yeah, I would 100% recommend X-Plane. It does also depend on the flying that you want to do. You know, if you want to do some VFR stuff and do visual navigation, and you kind of want to take it more chilled and just have a look around and explore, then I'd probably say Flight Sim 2020 is going to be better. If you want to get into the hardcore systems at the moment, Flight Sim 2020 is not quite there. In a year or so, when all of the complex mods start coming in, and hopefully they fix the flight model and all of that stuff, it's going to get there. But X-Plane is still fantastic for accurate and detailed simulation at the moment. So 100%, if you're looking at X-Plane, I wouldn't say no. But just be prepared, because if you're anything like most simmers, you're going to end up with all of them. The only one I haven't used is P3D. It's just too expensive. This is a rubbish chocolate. Kelly would like this. It's got some like stuff inside, biscuity stuff. So yeah, I hope that kind of answers your question. I mean, obviously you have to consider you need to buy the sim and all of that. Having the Zebo mod as a free option, which is super detailed, is fantastic. So if you're not worried about spending extra money, you know, if you're considering getting one or the other, and you're wanting to fly airlines, go for it. There is something big coming with X-Plane. So Austin has said, just after the release of Flight Sim, that they have some hectic thing in the works. No one knows what it is yet, or as far as I've seen. So maybe, see, I don't know when that's going to release. I'm guessing it's going to be like an X-Plane 12, and the rumors that I've heard from things that Austin has said is that it's supposed to be X-Plane's answer to Flight Sim. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm guessing if it's that big of an improvement, you're going to have to buy it again. It's not going to be an update for X-Plane 11. So I guess there is some argument for not buying X-Plane 11 now and waiting for that. However, since we haven't heard any news about that, I don't think it's going to be very soon that comes out. So I would say you've got at least a year or so, probably more, before something like an X-Plane 12 gets released. So yeah, I definitely recommend X-Plane. To be honest, the last couple of months I've been flying more in X-Plane than in Flight Sim. I've just I don't know if you can say the novelty is worn off. The graphics are amazing and I still enjoy flying in Flight Sim. It's just X-Plane just feels better. This one, and I said Darren was actually there on the first day when I flew Flight Sim for the first time, and I was part of the alpha testing and beta testing as well. And from day one I always just said it just feels so twitchy. I'm busy completing my CPL. Geez, okay, you should be telling me what to do then. I don't have any. Well, my total real-world pilot experience is 0.8 hours. I did an intro flight in a 172, that's all. So if you are doing your CPL, 100% X-Plane is for you. This is not gonna cut it. If you want that accuracy, go for X-Plane, for sure. And it's an absolute pleasure. Always here to answer questions and talk about flying. But yeah, you should be teaching me how to fly. But yeah, X-Plane is actually the kind of software, the architecture, the sim that a lot of the simulators at the flight schools use. It's actually X-Plane, and that's their biggest market from what I understand. That's how they started, and then they put out a version of X-Plane for the plebs, the general public like me to use. But yeah, so if you learning or working on your CPL, then yeah, X-Plane is going to be a much better option. And I've never worried about X-Plane's, I mean, not the graphics. The graphics are fine. It's the scenery that doesn't compare to this. But if you're flying IFR, most of the time you're up at 38,000 feet. Doesn't matter really that the ground isn't super detailed. That's why I like to do VFR here. But when I'm flying airliners, I mostly go back to X-Plane. Right, how are we doing? So we should be just about halfway. Not quite. What does our progress bar say? Time to go 21 minutes. I don't think so. That seems a little quick. What do we say here? So, okay, 29 minutes. This is a little bit ahead. It says 20 minutes, but it's not way off. Obviously, our progress bar at the top of the screen is just, it's working on a direct distance. This is actually following the route that we're taking. So direct is always going to be shorter because we're not actually going straight there. We're kind of winding around. So it makes sense that that'll be a little bit ahead of what we're actually doing. So Darren, if you're still there, can you actually hear my sidechain? Because I was listening back to some of my streams, and the game audio was really soft, but the level of the voice over the audio was fine. So I've done a sidechain, so if I'm not waffling on about something, and the game audio is actually a little louder, but I can't obviously monitor it because OBS is capturing the desktop audio, so then it would double. Oh yeah, because once again, I don't know what it is. Every time I stream Flight Sim, OBS freaks out and loses all my settings. So all of my processing that I had set up, when I opened OBS today, all of my audio and video assignments were gone. And all of my processing was gone, so I had to set up OBS again from scratch. I don't know why. Yeah, I did save it, and it's when I reloaded the scene. So all the sources in the scenes came back, but all of the processing, so all of the audio sources were unassigned in the options, and all of the processing was obviously gone because they'd been unassigned. And when I reloaded the profile in the scene, it didn't bring any of that back. So, and there was no update. There was I freaked out. 15 minutes before I had to start streaming, there was a Windows update, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. But it went quickly, luckily. Well, you say that, but this is the second stream in a row where, because normally what I do, Flight Sim takes a while to open. So I normally launch Flight Sim and then I like go have supper or something, or this evening. Why are we weaving all over the place while I'm waffling on here? I went and had a shower. Okay, we're intercepting that. That's fine. So I launched it and went and had a shower so that it's ready when I sit down to start streaming. And then as soon as I open Flight Sim, my camera disconnects from my computer. And this is the only game, it's the second stream in a row where my camera wouldn't launch, and then I have to reboot the whole computer for my camera to get picked up. And it's never done that before. And I thought last time, oh, it's just a random issue, whatever, it's USB, it's, you know, it's software. Restart the computer, it's fine. But this time it did the same thing, and it's only Flight Sim. So I think you might be right, because it's Microsoft, maybe it is messing with something in the background that we don't even know about. Because it's only Flight Sim that's ever done that. No other games have ever made my camera stop working. Yeah, well, if you sponsor me, that'll be awesome. Also, shout out to Allergex powering the stream. There it is. If you want to sponsor me, I will promote your, because I live on the stuff, and the stream wouldn't happen without Allergex. Otherwise I'd be sneezing the whole time, mostly because of Darren Zoo. I can't afford that, Darren, because you still haven't paid me from February. Jeez. What did you ask earlier? There was something I had to answer. Oh, did you sort out Nightbot? So I haven't done Nightbot. I think I figured out why whatever the other one's called, Streamlabs, what's it called, Cloudbot. I think I worked out why that wasn't working. So maybe I should just do a quick test stream during the day tomorrow on the 404 that no one else can see, and just see if it actually does work. What is my PC spec? So my PC is actually starting to get on the older side. I have a 1080 graphics card. I've got 16 gigs of RAM, DDR4 in this machine, and I've got a 4790K i7 CPU. So it is by no means the most amazing system. It was pretty cool when I built it like 6 years ago, but it's starting to get on the older side. But, well, I was gonna say it still runs Flight Sim perfectly. However, after the recent update, it does seem to be struggling a bit, which is strange because 2 days ago, it was running this plane at 40 FPS, and now it was just getting over 20. What is it doing now? Currently, okay, we're at 24, 25. Oh, it's just gone up to 30. Look at that. So yeah, I'm still happy with it at the moment. It runs all the things I need it to run, but if Flight Sim starts getting more intense, and when people like PMDG start putting add-ons into Flight Sim, it might be time to upgrade. But I'm definitely not buying a graphics card now, they're too expensive. Yeah, okay, cool. We can test that tomorrow. If it doesn't work, then I'll just copy all of those settings into Nightbot. Shouldn't take too long. Yeah, so Darren is busy trying to buy a graphics card. Dude, it is mental. I was watching some of Linus's videos today. They were talking about the prices of a graphics card, and it's like, what were they showing? It was like a 1660 or something. And then you look and the MSRP is like $280 and they're selling for like $700. It's mad. What are you trying to buy again? 3080? Yeah, double. It's mental. Right, we are coming up to the... I'm not even concentrating on what's happening here. I'm just lucky that... because the CRJ has no auto throttle. Actually, that's a great question. Dave, what aircraft are you currently flying? So you're working on CPL, so you've obviously done PPL, probably done instrument as well, night rating. Have you done twin? Like, what are you flying? And how has that been with the COVID situation in the last couple of years? It must have been last couple of years, in the last year, with doing your training and stuff, because you've got to get a certain number of hours and you have to fly regularly to keep your to keep current. How has that worked? That must have been such a stuffer. Literally not worth buying anything at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, the prices are just ridiculous. Right. So we're coming up to Zaytel. I always do this. Now, this is supposed to give me an indication of top of descent, and I got it right last time, but I cannot remember what I did. I'm going to be off. Got a long day tomorrow. Enjoy the flight. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. And I'll see you baddies tomorrow when I prove that I am the superior hunter in Call of the Wild. Petrus and I will show you guys what it... Well, I don't even know what I'm saying now. I'm just going to beat you, okay? That's all I'm going to say. On the stream, not physically in the game. Right, let's see if I can figure out how to get VNav to display, because I definitely did it last... Not the VNav, the top of descent, because I definitely did it last time. But I had to do something, and now, for the life of me, I cannot remember what I did. Oh, that's not good. And that might actually be why we don't have a top of descent. Why was there a discontinuity there? That's interesting. I'll win, Baba, the underdog, the level 1 reader. Oh, that's the best title I've ever heard. The level 1 reader. That's incredible. Yeah, that's actually quite an intense turn, so let's do that rather. See, all of this is already done. That's not what I wanted to do. See, so we have a angle everything. Oh, actually, it looks like that might be it there. Cool, we have our top of descent. It didn't actually do anything. It just had to get rid of a discontinuity in our flight plan that I never noticed before for some reason. But we do now have an indication of when we need to start descending. Right, let's go through. Okay, so landing elevation didn't actually update. Now that I think of it, landing elevation is 13 feet. This is kind of difficult. These screens don't pop up. Now I just gotta find the right switch. It's this one here. Okay, so we'll go down to, what is it, 13, so we'll do 10. It goes up to 21st, so we'll do 0. That's perfect. Yeah, we are swinging around a lot. But I guess it's because we have loads of these close waypoints that are very close together here. Otherwise, looking good. Hopefully it can settle down after it gets to this next waypoint. Right, let's see if we clear out some of this clutter. The top of descent markers, I don't see it. Definitely was there. But I think we need to start our descent anyway. Probably actually should have started it earlier. Right, so most likely going to go down to 3,000 feet, so that's what we'll start with. We'll go vertical speed. We're going to have to descend fairly quickly. You're just way off our VNav course at the moment. What I actually want to do to sort all of this out is hold at this waypoint. So that's going to give us a chance to sort out our altitude, and we can try and get our aircraft back onto the course that we should be on. We'll bring my speed hold down to 240 knots. It's really struggling to get back onto this VNav course. Now I'm just trying to see if it's going to actually pick up the hold. Looks, no, it's turning back to the left again. Okay, there it's now entered the hold. It should turn right, not left. Yeah, VNav, not VNav, LNav struggling. I want to see what it's going to do here, 'cause it looks like it's going to turn left, come all the way around, and then hopefully do that. Right, there's our runway. So we're actually over the airport now. Right, so we are doing ILS runway 5 into this airport. So we need to be at 2,000 feet, not 3,000. Like so. So we intercept 2,000 feet, and it is 108.1. 108.1 is set. And the course is 049 degrees. That will be set automatically as well. So we are going all the way around. Let's see if it can actually join back in. This is an interesting path that it's chosen to take here. This is the first time I've had the CRJ go a little bit wild, but obviously I haven't flown it very much. Right, then once we land, so we're landing runway 5. We're most likely going to exit runway at Delta 3 And then we taxi, it's a small airport, so we taxi Tango 3 all the way into, so Tango 3, Tango, cross runway 31, Tango 2, Tango 6 to the apron. So that's pretty simple. Right, so homework for me is to figure out that topper descent issue, because we definitely had it working last time. And I think I did do something to get it to display, but whatever it was very obvious because I didn't have to look it up, I just found it. So that's definitely something I need to figure out before I fly this aircraft again. Just have a look at the sim at night. Even at night, it does look awesome. So there's the coast. And I think, I don't know if it's that. That seems a bit close. It's probably more like down there's Monaco. A little bit of cloud, nothing too serious. Okay, we're turning now to pick up this hold. Okay, let's get the altimeter. 1032, which is what we were at earlier as well. Oh, the scroll system kills me. Okay, so there's 1032 set. I'm gonna go speed hold at 240 just to make this a little easier to control, because we're just kind of descending as quickly as we can. So I do have it on idle power. Okay, it looks like we've finally gotten back onto the track that we should be on the hold now, which is good. Okay, we are descending at 2,400 feet, so that's perfect. So I think we can actually leave the hold after this loop, because we still have a significant path to go around to come in to the runway on the other side. So once we made this turn, we'll exit the hold and carry on. So at Metis, we need to be below 12,000 feet, which I think we can do. Yeah, we can do that. So we'll exit the hold now. Okay, so the exit is armed. and we are now heading to Metis. So arriving at Metis, we need to be below 12,000, which we will be since we are crossing 12,000 now, so that is perfect. See, it's a little bit late on that turn. I should have turned there slightly earlier.
We have begun our final descent into your destination. Flight attendants will be passing
Even Pack X doesn't know how to pronounce the name of this airport.
Tables are stowed and seats are in the full upright position. Please also store any carry-on items either in the seat back pocket or under the seat in front of you.
Yeah, we're coming up to 10,000 feet, so let's turn on the landing lights, and we'll turn on the logo light as well. That's the other thing we should turn off, is the cabin lights. Okay, there are, that's perfect. Okay, we're below 250 knots, landing lights are on, passing 10,000 feet. QNH 1032 set. Now, because we're in speed hold, or IAS hold, I'm just using the throttle to control the descent rate, rather than setting the descent rate and using the throttle to control the speed. I believe real world CRJ pilots, they use the vertical speed mode rather than the IAS hold. I think the IAS hold is a lot easier because you don't have to worry about managing the speed. You just have to keep an eye on the descent rate. Okay, do we have any other altitude and speed restrictions along the star? Only really on this side, it looks like. So TLN, no, so that is our only altitude restriction, and that is to be above 2,000 feet, which is not an issue because we're going to intercept the glide slope at 2,000 feet. Okay, so TLN, our prediction was to be 11,000 feet, so we are actually now below what the aircraft was predicting. So we can bring in a bit of power and descend nice and slowly. So the next one is 1.8 at 6,000 feet we need to be at, so we're just about at 6,000 feet already. So we can descend nice and slowly all the way along this path. Okay, so we're going to turn right towards that waypoint now. Into the clouds. And I can see nothing. Okay, there. Just got clouds ahead of us, and obviously no lights from the city over the ocean. Let's turn this floodlight down a bit, so that should help us see a little better out of the aircraft. We are over the ocean now, so not going to see much down here. Once we get closer to the airport, the city lights will give us a bit better view, which is great. Hey, I'm back. Have you heard of Infinite Flight? Yes, I have. That's the mobile version, if I remember correctly. So I've seen quite a bit of videos of people using Infinite Flight. I've never tried it myself. I've never really been into any sort of gaming on mobile, but I have nothing against mobile games. If you don't have a computer but you got a smartphone and you want to get into flight sim that way, 100%. It's a great way to start. But when I started flight sim, there were no mobile flight sims available, so I've always just been doing it on PC and never really gotten into gaming on mobile. It looks pretty good though. I was actually quite impressed with the graphics. I'm not sure how it handles or how you know work with any of the switches and stuff in the cockpit. So obviously having a mouse is going to be the easiest way to do that. Okay, you're going to be flying from LAX to Seattle via San Francisco. Okay. What aircraft are you flying? Does it come with a whole bunch of stock aircraft? Do you have to buy aircraft separately? Because I've seen videos of people flying 737s and A340s, all sorts of stuff. Do those all come with the game, or is it like extra purchases that you need to make for different aircraft? Right, we should be making pretty much a 180-degree turn to the right here fairly soon. There we go. Why are we turning to the left? Okay, so our CRJ is not happy tonight in terms of the LNAV. We definitely shouldn't, and the indication even shows that we should turn to the right, but we're going to the left. I'm not going to interrupt it now because it's going to make it worse. So we'll let it go to the left. We'll end up in the same place. It's alright. Stock and separate stock with subscription. Okay. Which aircraft are you going to be taking on your flight across America? Going to be using the 747 Delta. Okay, awesome. I still think the 747 is one of my favorite aircraft to fly. I've got the PMDG 747 for old flight sim, and I flew that loads. And yeah, it still is the queen of the skies, one of the most iconic aircraft. And so I have it for old flight sim. I can't wait for PMDG to bring their range of aircraft to Flight Sim 2020, but I think the 747 is going to be fairly low down on that list. We know that the first aircraft coming is the 737, and at best it'll be coming out for new Flight Sim at the end of this year. I'm going to say that that's going to be pushed into next year. Just because of the complexity and because of how new the simulator is, so we'll see. And then after that, I'd expect them to bring the 777, and maybe then only the 747, but I'm super keen. I hope the 747-8 that's stock in Flight Sim 2020 gets some love, and they you know, get all the systems working and that functioning nicely. If we can have something for that like we do for the A320, that would be incredible. But I still prefer the 747-400 to the 8. It really is the queen of the skies. I would really like to see, we know that fly-by-wire, the guys who are responsible for the A320NX, which is now a separate mod on its own, we know that they are working on an A380, which I'm very keen. We've never had a, you know, study level A380 sim in any of the simulators. That's going to be so cool if it's good, which based on what they've done with the A320, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. But I'd also love to see a good A340. There's obviously SAA, that's their main aircraft. Their long haul is all A340. So I've probably seen more A340s than anything else flying around in this area. And we also haven't had an amazing A340 for any of the sims. So I'd love to see a good quality A340 as well. That would be awesome. Right, let's go and arm our approach. So let's see if we can pick up the... Yeah, localizer is armed. Do we have the glide slope alive? Yes, we do. So let's just go heading hold. And we'll flip this over. Okay, we're not picking up the localizer. 108.1. That is interesting. I thought we would be seeing it by now. So I wonder if this is... After I get to Seattle, I will be flying... I don't know PABR, but I know Anchorage. A340-900 is also on infinite flight. Okay, that's awesome. So how do you actually like control the aircraft and stuff? Because I know there's a mobile version of X-Plane where you kind of tilt the phone like up and down and side to side to actually steer. Is it the same on infinite flight? Obviously, if you're flying something like the 737, you must have autopilots and all of that. No, we're not picking up the ILS at all, and I don't see... It's picking up runway 5, but I don't see a runway ahead of us. Really don't see this airport. So I wonder if this airport is actually in the sim. Wouldn't be the first time that that's happened. I mean, we should be right over the runway now. Do not see a runway. Oh, Barrow. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so you do tilt the phone to control it. That must take some getting used to. I'd probably be terrible at that. Right, there is no airport here. Yep. That's interesting. So it picked up all of the procedures and everything, but the airport isn't actually there in the sim. Right, so we're gonna have to make another plan. So let's get ourselves up to 4,000 feet. We'll go speed hold. Get rid of all these flaps. That's very strange that the airport is missing. Ah, you do it on iPad. Okay, that's brilliant. That makes a lot more sense. Right, now we are going to have to come up with somewhere. So, this is the closest airport, LFMQ. Very surprised that this isn't in the sim. Right. So, what we're going to have to do I'm not sure if the secondary flight plan is actually modeled. It looks like it might be. There we go. So arrival, there's no ILS. So, oh, and I think the sim just crashed. Yep. How old am I? I am, geez, that's a good question. I am 28. I have been simming for about 12 years? Right, so using the secondary flight plan has crashed Flight Sim, which is interesting. Right, well, I guess that brings us to the end of the stream. In a month from now, I'll be 21. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna see. Yeah, it's completely given up. So, welcome to Flight Sim after the update. And I don't think, I'm not going to blame that on Aerosoft. This aircraft worked perfectly fine. So obviously this has something to do with the update. Been simming for 7 years. Yeah, it's one of those things that if you enjoy it, you just, you get hooked and you do it forever. Anyway, well, that's a kind of abrupt end to the stream. The airport didn't exist, and then trying to set up an alternate crashed the sim. And this is why I go back to X-Plane. So, good chance we'll be in X-Plane again. Obviously, tomorrow I've got the Call of the Wild competition with the 404, so we'll be streaming Call of the Wild tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. What's it, Central African time? And then on Friday, I'll probably be back in X-Plane until this gets fixed. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for the subscriptions. Captain Maddie, enjoy your flight. I mean, you're going all over the US, so enjoy your flights in the 747. Thank you so much for tuning in and for commenting and engaging. Always appreciate the support. And I will see you guys again tomorrow night with the 404.